division between Americans based on political alignment? Why have Antifa attacks, vandalism, looting, and other violent attacks been appearing across the nation? Why does it seem like the media and social media all have an invisible propaganda department in the background controlling freedom of press and freedom of speech? Why are anti-CCP opinions and content exposing election fraud blocked or deleted by Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and others? Why are the mainstream media declaring Biden the victor of the 2020 election and totally ignoring the provisions set forth in the Constitution of the United States? These are all strategies in the CCP's unrestricted warfare playbook. Penetrate fully into the enemy's cells, use 1,000 talents plan to steal technology, use the media, associations, and social media to create social conflicts. Get someone who will bow to Beijing's will elected, and advance forward until total control over the nation is achieved. It's worth noting that the CCP's infiltration of American society could not have occurred without the support of the elites of the Western world and special interest groups. These are the so-called old friends of the CCP. Who are these old friends? Let's flip back to January 2008 when Obama was sworn into the White House.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
Dana Simpson is an expert in election integrity and technology. According to her years of investigations into Dominion, she discovered that Dominion was able to obtain 30 to 40% of the American electronic voting machine market as a result of Obama directing the then Attorney General to ensure his own re-election. In addition to uncovering how the Department of Justice helped Canada's Dominion acquire a firm foothold in the U.S., Simpson also found out from a Serbian journalist that Obama's Vice President, Joe Biden, visited Serbia in May 2009 to, quote, cut a deal to help Serbian hackers in Belgrade, where he was visiting to get control of information about voting machines. Dominion has also made donations to the Clinton Foundation. On June 9th, Staple Street Capital was officially registered. The private equity firm was founded by Stephen Owens and Hutan Yagudzabe. A member of the operating executive board was William Kennard. All three were former employees of the Cargill Group. Kennard was also the chair of the Federal Communications Commission from 1997 to 2001 during the Clinton administration. Thus, he oversaw media and communications in the United States. Kennard donated to the Obama election campaign. From 2009 to 2013, Obama appointed him as the U.S. ambassador to the European Union. On November 7, 2020, the fourth day after the election, AT&T announced William Kennard as the new chairman of the board. AT&T is the largest provider of communication services in the United States. Plus, with its acquisition of Warner Media, AT&T controlled CNN and multiple TV networks. In July 2018, Staple Street purchased Dominion. This implied that Kennard commanded the company that determined election results and then had more sway over American public opinion after the election through AT&T. On December 20th, 2014, UBS NY arranged investment of $200 million in Staple Street. Subsequently, on October 8th, 2020, UBS NY injected $400 million in Staple Street. Affiliate UBS Beijing was founded and controlled by Wang Qishan in 2006. At the same time, former CCP chairman Jiang Zemin and his grandson Jiang Jicheng, through Sequoia Capital's China branch, also took control of voting software developer Smartmatic, which is also related to Dominion. The Carlyle Group was founded in 1987. Investment tycoon George Soros became a limited partner at Carlyle in the mid-90s. Carlyle has been a force for globalization and has kept intimate partnerships with the CCP for a long time. After entering China in 2005, Carlyle played important roles in privatizing state-owned enterprises and witnessed how families of CCP elites stole from China.
It's a system whereby if you do not challenge the Chinese Communist Party's rule, if you don't challenge the party politically, and you abide by the Chinese Communist Party's mandates, whether you're a Chinese citizen or whether you're an American or whether you're a European, then you can essentially take advantage of the benefits provided by the Chinese Communist Party. So what they've done is essentially align Chinese Communist Party interest with the enablement of greed. And so they've done this in China. They say in China to get rich is glorious. And in addition, they've been able to essentially incentivize the leaders of large tech companies, large financial institutions in the United States, the leaders of academic institutions, political leaders, and this is not just in the United States, but in democracies all around the world. And so essentially we face the destruction of the democratic order, but not at the hands of an adversary wielding nuclear weapons or with shock troops. It's really using our own tendency to essentially fall victim to greed. It's simple greed.
Well, China has a big stake in these elections. They've made it very clear they want to just get rid of President Trump. They're much more comfortable with Biden. So what they've done, they've had these networks for some time, but there are communist parties in America that owe allegiance to the Chinese Communist Party. I'm talking about Liberation Road and their subgroup called Left Roots, the Communist Party USA, and others. And what these groups have been doing for several years now is setting up voter registration groups in key states that could be flipped from Republican to Democrat, for instance. And what they do is that they deliberately set up these groups to target minority voters who lean Democrat but don't normally vote often. They call them low preponderance voters, low propensity voters. And so in Virginia, for instance, they've had new Virginia majority for some time. That's been working for over 10 years, and they take credit for flipping that state from Republican to Democrat. But this election now, they've run this out of San Francisco, a group called Seed the Vote. Now that is a front for the Chinese Progressive Association, which is a big voter registration group, community organizing group that's been based in San Francisco since the 1970s and has always been a tool of the Chinese Communist Party. So Seed the Vote has run a whole network of these big voter registration organizations, and they targeted 7 states this year: Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, all the key swing states. And so they signed up hundreds of thousands of low propensity voters, they got them to the polls, and they claim credit. They openly claim credit for winning the election for Biden, which is legal. They're working legally in voter registration, but what is not legal is the fact that they're cooperating with the Communist Party of China and taking direction from the Communist Party of China.
Now, how can we prove that they're involved with the Chinese Communist Party?
Well, for instance, one of the key people of Seed the Vote is a man called Alex Tom. He's the past CEO of the Chinese Progressive Association in San Francisco. And he openly boasts about his deep connection to the Chinese officials in San Francisco. He talks about how he has regular conversations with them. He runs his positioning past them. And this is the guy who is basically running some of these major voter registration organizations.
China has had a very important role in funding left experiments. And we have a relationship with the Chinese embassy. We actually have I've had to have various conversations with them about our positioning.
On the other side of it, New Virginia majority, they win their elections by using very sophisticated, what they call GIS, computer-generated maps. These are precinct maps, very, very specific, who will tell you the voter profiles in every district in Virginia, the ethnicity, the voting patterns, the income levels, so they can micro-target voters to get them to pick the voters they want. Well, these maps are generated by a man called Stephen McClure. He's a supporter of Liberation Road, the major pro-Chinese Communist Party behind this, and he works out of the geography department of Wuhan University in China. He is generating maps used to flip districts in Virginia and presumably other southern states as well, and he's working in a Chinese geography department using Chinese equipment, using Chinese computers, probably paid a salary by the Chinese Communist Party to basically interfere in American politics. So this is happening right under our very noses. George Soros alone has put something like $18 billion into the left in the last 3 or 4 years. That buys a lot of votes. That sets up a lot of voter registration groups. That buys a lot of buses to ship people to the polls. Now, what these people are doing is legal, in that it's not illegal to sign up voters or get them to the polls, but they're working with organisations that definitely have histories of illegal voting activity, vote fraud. But the fact that they're working with entities connected to the Communist Party of China, that puts a whole different spin on it.
On December 9th, 2020, Biden's son, Hunter Biden, confirmed that he was under tax investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware. As a result, the Hunter Biden hard drive scandal that was temporarily suppressed during the run-up to the election has resurfaced. This investigation was launched due to suspicious activity reports regarding suspicious foreign transactions from China and other countries.
Turns out that whole time, it was actually the Biden family who was enriching themselves.
December 9th, 2020, U.S. Senate committees released a bombshell report revealing alarming corruption in foreign business ventures involving former Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter. U.S. Senators Chuck Grassley, chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, and Ron Johnson, chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, released the near 90-page report titled Hunter Biden, Burisma, and Corruption: The Impact on U.S. Government Policy and Related Concerns. The report said, quote, "The Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs and the Senate Committee on Finance undertook this investigation into potential conflicts of interest and the involvement of the Biden family in foreign business ventures while Joe Biden was vice president. The committees found, quote, consistent, significant, and extensive financial connections among Biden family members and the Chinese Communist government." It states, quote, "Hunter Biden and Devin Archer engaged in numerous financial transactions with Chinese nationals who had deep connections to the Communist Chinese government." It continues, quote, "These Chinese nationals included Ye Jianming, founder of the CEFC China Energy Co. Ltd. And chairman of the board for its subsidiary, the China Energy Fund Committee." The report continues, stating, "Thus, there exists a vast web of corporate connections and financial transactions between and among the Biden family and Chinese nationals." It states, "Hunter Biden has extensive connections to Chinese businesses and Chinese foreign nationals that are linked